So hi everyone. So we are in the series of Android and we are learning about how we can interact with databases and can fetch out the details using CRUD operations, in which we have already seen how we have created our database manager, in which it was interacting with the database through database helper, and database helper was basically extending the class SQLite Open Helper. So in this we have written on create, on upgrade the basic database and its table creation. So we have created an employee. If I open the project, we have created an employee object. So this was the employee object in which ID, name and age was there. Let me close this. As of now, database manager was there, in which we were interacting with database helper and fetching out the details using our database, that is SQLite database. So right now we have already seen how we have created on create. In on create, we have created around 5 to 6 different records in the employee with ID, name and age. So now let me comment out this creation part, because we have already seen how to create. If you have not seen, you just check out the playlist of Android which I've created. I'll share the link in the description, and can see the create about the creation of different entries, how we can create entries in the database. So here we will see about the update, insert and fetch part. So CRUD basically comes out with create, read. So we are going to read the entries which are available in the database. Since we have already created the entries of employee, I'm going to fetch out the details of employee using the read part. And for reading the database, let me go to the, let's close the employee as of now. Let me minimize this part also. Let's go to the database manager, in which insert is already there. Now we are concerned with fetching the records from the database. So let me arrange it with function alt, control function alt and L. So everything is now arranged. Now here what I will do, I will create another function. I will call public, and it will return me, since I have inserted employee, as you can see the employee object, we have already inserted the employee. So I will read out the list of employees from the database, and I will say get employees, or I would say instead create is already done, that is insert, and let's go with read employee. So read employee will read all the employees which are available in the database and will return it to the main activity from here. For reading the database entries, what I will do, I will create a basic call for the read, and that call for the read will be, the first thing is to create a list and then set everything in the list part. So I will list of employees which we are returning, and this will be emp employee list equals new array list. So as of now I am creating an array list. Here in the array list, what I will do, I will first call the database, this database, using this database helper method, or database helper I would say class, which we have extended. And in this I will call get readable database. So all the readable database will be or readable database will be available in this database part. And I will say that string of fields which I want to get, I will call here fields equals database helper dot empid, database helper dot emp name, database helper dot emp age. Now using cursor, c equals the db, that is a readable database dot query. We will do inside the query, you can see this is the first table, and then comes the column part. Other is different select or other custom queries which you want. So let's go with the first one only. So here in this part, I will ask for the database helper dot provide me the table name. So our table name was employee table. Then I will ask for the fields which I require. So fields I have already created using fields. Then other part I don't require. So simply I will go and write null, then null, then null again. So it may come few more times, then null. So it is done. So we have created a cursor using cursor we will fetch out all the entries from the database. So how to fetch out? Let's provide the index of these entries. So I will provide int, that is the id equals cursor dot get column index, and in which I'll say database helper dot get me the column index of employee ID. Similarly, let me copy out this and paste it few more times. Then I want the index of, or instead I will write index, index of ID. Then comes the index of name, and then comes the index of age. So here I will ask for the employee ID, then comes the name, so I will say employee name, then comes the employee age. So what we have done till now is that we have created a list which will be returned in the return type. We have asked for the database which is coming from the database helper, so I am calling for the readable database. I am doing a creation of an array in which I am providing the different fields, and these fields will be sent to the cursor for these field selection, and this will go and search in the employee database. Next I am doing is creation of index for this, so I will say index ID is that ID where the employee ID is present, and next is the index name for employee name, then age, index for age. So till now we have done for the indexing part, and now let's go for the cursor movement. So I will say cursor dot move to first, so initializing the cursor to first, and I am saying that if not equal to is after last. So if it is not last, move the cursor further. So I'll say c dot move to next, similar to for loop. So what this is doing, it is asking for the cursor movement, and cursor movement is from the first, and it is moving up until it is not last. So this is a condition, and it is moving next. Similar to I is equal to 0, I less than equal to last, and I plus plus, somewhat like that only. And inside this I will add the details in the employee list. So for creation of employee list, I will say employee list and dot add. Inside this I will create a new employee. What I will do here, I will fetch out all these cursor details and set it in the employee constructor. If I open the employee, I have a constructor in which ID, name and age are being passed. So here similarly I will say employee ID. The first thing will be cursor dot get. First thing is the ID. ID is integer, so ID of index ID. Then comes the second part where cursor dot the name part. So I will just cursor dot get string, because string is a name, or name is a string, so that's why we are calling get string, and I will call to get the index of name. Then comes cursor dot get integer for the age part, because integer is so age is defined in the terms of integer, so that's why integer. So I will say index of age. So here what we have done, we have created an employee list of all the details which are present in the database, and we have mapped these details into the employee list. Simply after that I will return this employee list. We have called the helper for readable database. We have asked for these fields to query and get the details from this table and get out these fields in the cursor. In the cursor we have defined that index ID is of employee ID, name is for employee name, and age is for employee age. And in the list we have directly set all these entries after moving the cursor from first to the last for index ID, index name and index age. Finally we are returning all the employee details. Now since we have created read employees, let's go to the main activity where we are calling the creation part. So we have already seen how we have opened the database manager in the create part and closed the database manager. Here only I will be calling this method read employee of which one, database manager. So database manager dot read employee, and this will read out all the employee details. So this will return me list of employee, EMP list, I would say. And let me import this list. So we have imported the list. Now comes the next part, to print out all these details. So I will say for, or make it while, or make it for only, we will start from 0 and till the list last. For int I equals 0, I less than employee list dot size I plus plus. And here I will printing out system, or make it logger. So log dot d, and I will say employee data, and in this employee data I will pass the emp list dot get at index I. So what we are doing is we are returning the employee list from here dot get I dot toString get. So we have created a toString of employee list. And if you see the employee, we have already the toString method inside this, it will return me all these details. So let's go to the main activity. So instead of employee, I will say data only. Now let me restart this application. So when I will call to restart, this emulator will open and it will start accordingly. If you see, this has already been fetched out. Let me clear this again and restart it. So as you can see, we have created data, and data is coming in from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These entries we have created earlier, and these are coming from the list part. So what we have done is, through database manager, we have called the read employee method and fetched out all the employee list. What we can also do is that we, instead of that, I can go with the stream part. I can directly say emp list dot stream dot for each, simply go with system dot out then double colon println. The thing is that whenever you will go with the stream part in Android, it will ask for the version check, if the device version should be compatible with the latest Java version. So for that, I'll surround it with version which is asking, which is being asked by this SDK and version control codes. And if I remove this part, again also you can see that same entries are coming. Also, instead of creating a separate list part, let's call this only directly. So I have called this part here only. I don't require to create it right now. I click on save. Let's stop this and rerun this and let the Gradle build start. Again, as you can see, all the employee details are coming here using the stream part. It is advisable to avoid these parts because older SDK version may not be compatible with the latest Java versions. So we should go with the legacy codes until unless we are strictly bound to go with the latest version of Androids. Thank you all. We will see in the next part how we can update, and in the coming slide how we can delete it. So for the CRUD operations, we have seen how we can create, how we can read, and next comes the update and delete. So we'll go with the update part next. Thank you all for watching.